Violence erupting in downtown Atlanta. Police have arrested 6 people, and the mayor says the charges will include domestic terrorism after the demonstration over the police shooting death of an activist devolved into complete chaos. It also turned into war against cops. Rioters set a police cruiser on fire, smashed windows, spray painted and trashed businesses. And Atlanta's police chief says some of the protesters even had explosive devices on them.
And so it doesn't take a rocket scientist or an attorney to tell you that breaking windows and setting fires is not protest. That is terrorism. And that they will be charged accordingly, and they will find that this police department and the partnership is equally committed to stop that activity.
But some in the media are trying to downplay the destruction right in front of our own eyes.
I think that there's a real blurring of the lines in the use of the word violence. Is property destruction violence? To some people, it certainly is. But this idea that breaking windows or other acts of property destruction are the same as actual violence against humans it's kind of a dangerous and slippery concept. You keep using these words, violent, 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 violent. The only acts of violence against people that I saw were actually police tackling protesters.
As he says, from the comfort and safety of his own basement. Mark, I also note what Eric Erickson said, which is that this is getting absurd. The media was more likely to call the 20 Republicans who dragged out the speaker race terrorists than they do people who are shooting at police officers and burning down cities.
As long as it's for Democrat causes, it's okay. I mean, if we go back to the summer of love 2020, when, cities were burning down left and right, I think, what did Nancy Pelosi say? People are going to do what they're going to do. And she just kind of threw her hands up. So I feel like, number one, Democrats seem to be empowering these activist groups, right? Like giving them power so that they can go out and make their case. But at the same point in time, they're obviously, they've got a lot of confusion over what is violent and what is not violent, right? I mean, they continue to call these kinds of, protests, which I think are riots, they call these protests peaceful. Okay, but when you light someone's business on fire, when you light their car on fire, when you vandalize, arson, all of these things are a full-on assault of people's personal belongings, their possessions, their businesses. The business. That's not okay.
Yeah, their livelihoods. Harris, Mark brought up the Summer of Love, that originated that term in Seattle, 13 blocks from where I used to live there. And I remember speaking with 2 Seattle police officers, well, multiple that summer, but 2 in particular, who together among them represented a multitude of races and political inclinations. They were both Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans. And they said they had never experienced something more brutal or violent than they did on the streets in Seattle when they had bricks and feces thrown at them, when they were full-blown assaulted. In addition to the racial epithets, the names that they were called, the hostility they encountered there, they said, was worse than anywhere else. And yet that was deemed the Summer of Love. This is no different.
I was trying to read on the screen, I know we had it last hour too, freelance journalist is what that guy was who was talking from his basement or kitchen or wherever it was. It's unfortunate that he doesn't know what life-saving skills our police officers and firefighters have. That when you set a fire, somebody has to put it out. And it's dangerous to go up to flames that are taller than like 2 cars stacked and try and get those flames out. I don't know what mystery people in a Marvel comic that this freelance journalist thinks he's living through or living with, but those are realities. And so for him to say that these were not dangerous for human beings just speaks to ignorance to me. His comments are ignorant, not him. Maybe he's brilliant and he's trying to hide it from us. But in all of this, the Atlanta mayor said some surprising political words, Andre Dickens. And what he said was this was definitely violent. So I don't know how long he'll last in that position because those on the left probably aren't going to appreciate that. But if he and the police chief can attack this sort of thing, the way that we saw some on the left not attack it in the Summer of Love, so-called, maybe they can make a difference at this point. I'm going to say they're probably outnumbered by the brick throwers and all of that. And if people really want to have a discussion about training for police officers, if they really are taking exception to things that are going wrong at police forces, then go to your city council. Tell them, I want a meeting. This group wants a meeting. Let's start to talk to each other and not throw bricks at each other's heads.
And bottom line, Dagan, the catalyst for this, protester, the activist that was shot, he shot at a police officer. He shot him in the stomach. Thankfully, that police officer will survive. He might not have. So it's also a washing over of the entire genesis of these protests that almost resulted in a police officer losing his life at the hands of a peaceful protester.
Well, and those protesters are actually protesting an Atlanta public safety training center that the protesters call Cop City because they're upset about trees getting chopped down. That's what they're upset about. Is they're upset that there's going to be a facility that's being funded for public safety in Georgia, in Atlanta. They're upset about trees that can be regrown. So that's the root of it. That kind of highlights the insanity of the left. Also highlighting the insanity is the leftist fascist movement to effort to control words is an effort to change their meaning. So at every turn, you have to highlight what a guest on CNN says. And we also should point out, it was CNN that had that banner in 2020 where a reporter in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was standing with in front of a city on fire. And the banner said, fiery but mostly peaceful protest. So they should know better. And ABC has a tweet up. It says 6 people arrested in Atlanta after a peaceful protest turned violent. No, it was a night of rage planned by Antifa. So don't call it peaceful protest. They know better. But this is an effort by the left to change the meaning of language.
And Cheryl, you know, Dagan mentions the effort by the left, and I really want to bring up the fact that the daughter of the Democrat Minority Whip, Catherine Clark, was arrested for not only spray painting vile statements we can't even report on air at a public park, but for assaulting a Boston police officer. And then this representative had the nerve to tweet, "This is part of the cycle of joy and pain in parenting." Last time I checked, this is illegality, it's a felony, and it's atrocious and appalling. That is how you raised your child.
Yeah, and
unacceptable.
My favorite part, well, that the law is going to have an opinion about this or whatever. Oh, you think? I mean, probably not, because what we keep saying is people are getting off the hook and off the hook and off the hook. We're saying it in all these different blue cities. You know, and what you said, I really took offense to when they said, well, this wasn't violence in Atlanta, because did you see all the businesses that got burned and trashed? Did you see the broken windows? I mean, those businesses are now going to have to deal with all the after effects. We saw it here in New York City in the summer of 2020. We saw it in Seattle, Portland. You know, so you know, if it's a business, it's okay for them to be violent against a business. That's okay. So, you know, it's time to. Sadly, the law is not going to fix a lot of these problems.
Humans own that business. Yeah. Humans make their livelihoods off that business. Humans' lives are changed. Tell the freelance journalist on CNN.
That's right.